Hi everyone, I'm back in between Christmas and New Year. I decided I was going to take a long break between, long for me, 22nd to the 2nd. It's taken off over Christmas. Haven't really had any sort of long periods of time off this year with running the business, so I thought I'd take a bit more time off with the family. But I've been allowed out for a day's fettling and tinkering, and it's not going to be retail sales related. It's going to be on the Firebird. So I've come in this morning and started tearing out the interior on it, because those of you who watched the channel before know this is my, I should introduce this in case you haven't watched the channel before. This is my 1977 Pontiac Firebird. It is a Formula 400, which means it's got 6.6 litre V8 in it. It's not a smoking band. It hasn't got the T-tops, hasn't got the bonnet vents on it. This is a Formula 400. They came with a bright red and herringbone interior on them, which I don't like. I want to change it all out to black. I want my Firebird all murdered out. And the car's also had a lot of rattles inside it, and there was no rear parcel shelf and stuff like that. So the interior needed going over. So I've come in today and started stripping it apart. And what I've got to say is, oh my goodness, I love how this car comes apart. It comes apart so easy. For example, this here comes through the door. It's the adjuster for your mirrors there. I thought it was going to be forever trying to get that out of here, feed it through, but no, it's just one little sort of U-clip you undo from one side, it slides straight out. All the door cards are pretty much like an MGB. They're in there with wood screws. You've got to remember this is a 1970s car. Comes apart, lovely door handle, just, you know, the winder just pulls off a splined end. So yeah, really nice. So a few things. For starters, I was really having trouble with the door, opening the door. You'd have to really pull and then use your shoulder to barge the door open. So what I've done is I've come down here and I found that it was kind of going like that. I've bent it down here, and I've also put in a clip in here because I don't know what's supposed to be here to hold that in properly, but I've hammered this clip in here because that was wobbling around, and now I've got nice door action. It's a bit slow coming back again now. I think if I grease it up a bit, it'll be all right. So that's okay. I've got the door rubbers to go around the windows so they don't rattle. As I go along through the car, I'm going to start putting stuff on, trying to reduce rattles. Like when I put the door cards back on, I'm going to put some double-sided sort of rubber felt all the way around, so that there's no metal on metal or trim on trim that hasn't got any buffering. It's a bit of a mess. I've got loads of stuff out. I've been fiddling away. The seats just came straight out, so we're going to give it a go at recolouring the seats as well. The trim off the side of the car all slots in, wasn't even screwed in. It just kind of slots in. Once you take one piece off, you can undo all the others. The reason it's covered in this gooey stuff is that's the original red behind the trim there, but it had been painted black before, but really badly. So I've got to get that off before I can give it my treatment in black. I do have a piece that's got snapped off that I need to repair as well. And then I'm going to key it up. I'm going to use an adhesion promoter, and then I'm going to use a textured black paint on it. Because again, like I say, I want it black. I'm not worried about originality on it. I want it black all the way through. I'm going to get all the interior sorted out and then get started on the bodywork. Not obviously today, but we're going to get as much of the interior done as possible. I want to get the centre trim out there, get that all black. I want to get these side trims here out and black, and I need to do something about the gear selector surround there as well, because at night you can't see a thing. So I need to get that cleaned up, maybe repainting the white on it for the lettering, and get that back in there again. So I've only really got today to tinker. We'll see how far I get. But yeah, no, certainly in terms of working on it, it's super easy to work on. Over here, I've got the two half of the door card. So the lower half of the door card, is plastic, and the top half is vinyl. The top half had all torn around here, so I've cut that out. I'm going to glue some foam back in again, and then put some more vinyl back in, and hopefully I've got like a vinyl filler that I can tidy that up before I spray that black, and it should tidy that right up. And I'll put like a washer in there so that it doesn't wear away for the locking mechanism for the door. The back, all this had pulled away. I've just gaffer taped that back for the moment to hold that tight. But all these bits here that had curled away, I've re-glued them again. So I cleaned them all up and put the contact adhesive on and glued those back down again, so it pulled all this fabric tighter. There's still a few little bucks here and there, but overall, again, I can tidy these things up with vinyl glue I've got. And then this will be sprayed black as well with a vinyl spray. I'll key it up first, and then I've got a black vinyl spray that I'll use on that. So while I'm waiting for the paint stripper to do its thing, I think what I'm going to do is test doing one of the seats. I'm going to clean the seat up, and I'm going to test spraying this seat out black and seeing how it looks. I know this is going to be triggering a lot of people in the comments. I expect to see lots of interesting comments going on. So I've got my degreasing spray here. I'm going to spray that over the sides here. I'm going to do all this here as well, clean all this down as well. But you can see straight away that's kind of cleaner. And then I'm going to use this scuff pad to then both clean it and key it at the same time. And the thing with it all painting, is if you didn't know, is if you just stick paint straight on, it will peel off. You need to give a keyed surface for your paint to take to. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, you want a keyed up surface. So I'm going to give this a good old scrub and then wipe it down and let it dry thoroughly before we start trying any paint on it. Right, that's the seat all cleaned and prepped. Put it up on this ladder for a bit as a temporary setup just to try some of this colour on it. I obviously don't mind getting paint on the ladder. A lot of you might be questioning now, why not just buy the kit from America where I could get everything in black vinyl? Well, by the time I got that over here, probably in £1,000 doing that. This is pretty much going to cost me about a tenner in paint. So it's a temporary period until I decide what I'm doing with the car and how far I want to go with it. It's a nice cost-effective way to get what I'm looking for. So what we've got is some direct to vinyl black paint. It does do fabric as well. I have used this on, it's from Rust-Oleum. I have used this on an MGB interior before and it worked quite well, so I don't see why it shouldn't do okay on this. First thing, obviously, dust coat, really light coat to make sure there's something to grab to on it. I might put some adhesion promoter on first, actually, thinking about it. Decided against that because I don't know how those two products react against each other. I've used this before successfully, so yeah, it's probably safer not to do it. So we're just going to dust this on. It's a bit cold today. I should probably warm the can up a bit as well. I'm going to come back from distance and just dust it on and let that dry off, so I've got something to then go on and do a second coat with. Doesn't matter if I get any over the MGB, by the way, because that's got to be flat and polished from when we sprayed it. I don't think I will today because it's just the can's too cold and it's just not spreading out that much anyway. And we're going to go on the fabric as well. Again, just a light dust coat. We'll go heavier on the later coats. So there's our first dust coat. We're going to let that settle for a bit. I'm going to warm the can up, I think in some warm water, so that the spray is finer when I do the other coats and isn't going to go on and be likely to crack in that first dust coat I wasn't too worried about. Right, onto our second coat. I've done the sides with the second coat. I think 3 coats is going to be enough. I don't want to go too heavy because it's got to be flexible. If I lay it on really thick, when people sit on it, it could crack the paint, I guess. But I imagine this is fairly flexible, so just light dustings. Just make sure you're getting all the nooks and crannies where the light's going to show up. I have keyed the little piping as well, so that it's got the ability to hold on to the paint a bit better as well. This seat base will require a dusting as well once I've done a whole lot to even the colour out nicely. I'm not looking to completely cover the herringbone, I just want it all black rather than grey and black. There we go, on the fabric I think I'm done. I don't think I want to put any more than that on there. I think it's fairly even. It never looks the same on camera. And obviously this will be laying flat, not upright like this. But it looks fairly even. Like I said, I didn't want to get rid of the herringbone completely. I'm going to give the sides a bit of a dusting on the vinyl again. But this is exactly the kind of look I was going for, just a sort of all black. Right, so I've got the leftovers some repair kit here for a... I think I was doing this in Qashqai seat before, wasn't I? So I've got a repair compound there, a black, which I think I mixed with the compound if I remember rightly. I've got some spare vinyl that was left over and some packing stuff as well. Various things that I can pack into the hull to try and make up for the lost foam on this bit here. So, I think what I'll do is do the repair, leave the little hole, and then decide what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to end up sticking a penny washer on the top there, on top of the vinyl, for it to guide in, because if you look on the original ones, that's what they basically have, just a sort of a chrome washer there. So if I just use a penny washer, it'll do a nice job on it. So what I think I'll do is just repair all this first, make a hole as I'm going along, see how I get in, and I say I'm going to paint the whole thing then and hopefully blend it all in together. Now this clean scuff pad seems to be about the same thickness as the foam underneath. It's about the same level. So if I glue that into there, use some 2-part adhesive and glue that into place in there, I could then probably skim over the whole top with the repair compound and use this the other way round, press it down to texture it, let it dry off, and then paint the whole thing. That's the theory. That's how it works in practice. There we go. I need to shave down this edge here, or hopefully maybe clamp it when I glue it, and see if it'll sit flat. Apologies for my nails covered in crud. Let that go off, and then see if we can't stick, maybe see if I can't stick some vinyl in underneath the edge of that. Stick some of the vinyl underneath it, slide it in, glue that down, and then try and level it off. We'll see. It's learning as I go. Now before I do glue that in, I want to build back this area here. You can see there should be a circular hole in the plastic here, and it's broken away on the edges over age and cracked. Now the important thing about that is that it's going to guide the arm for the door lock much better. It won't wobble about the place if that's back in the position it should be. So what we're going to use as a quick and easy fix is a 2-part epoxy that goes off like almost instantaneously, and I'm going to work that all the way around the edge here with a bit of tape on the back to sort of support it while I'm doing it. I'll probably work it out wider area though, like that, so it's got a bit more to get hold of. I'm having to guesstimate probably where it was, like that. I'll lean it up now and tidy up a bit more, but that's basically what we're going to do, and then let that harden off. Right, there we go. We'll let that harden off now, and then pull the tape away from behind, and then stick that bit of foam down over the top. If you're doing a larger area and you're using this, get yourself a bit of what is this stuff again? Top Fix. If you get yourself a bit of aluminium mesh for fiberglass, you get it with fiberglass kits sometimes, or you can just buy a sheet of aluminium mesh at Halfords. If you're doing a bigger area, put the mesh there and then cover the mesh with this stuff. You'll end up with a really strong fix. I'll show you how I've done that on a piece of trim in a bit. Once this has gone off, I'm going to pull that tape off and go in from behind as well and reinforce it from the back. And what I've done as well is, while it's just tacking off, I just stuck a little O-ring in there, and I'll do that on the other side. The idea of that is that when it hardens off, that will stay in there. Is again, that if the arm for the door lock moves back and forth, it won't rattle against the plastic, it'll hit the rubber instead. I'm trying to eliminate all the rattles I can as I go along. Now, predictably, the paint strip has done pretty much bugger all. I don't know why paint strippers just don't seem to work like they used to. The only one I've got that was ever any good was off of eBay, and it was down as aircraft paint stripper for some reason. That worked really well. I've followed the instructions and I've given it 2 coats, and it just hasn't touched the paint at all. So I'm going to jet wash all this off and then come up with game plan number 2, which is probably sand them, to be honest. So I've packed that out with the foam and with the a bit of vinyl. I've ended up with a bit more of a gap than I wanted to, but we've made up the vinyl filler, so I'm going to fill that out and smooth that out now. It's going to be a 2-handed job, so I'll show you afterwards. Right, it's all in. Looks a bit of a mess at the moment. I'm going to let it all harden off, and then I will sand it back and see where we are. Some of it seems to be sitting a bit higher than I wanted it to, so if I have to do it all over again, I will do. It's a learning curve. We're do best with whatever we can, to be honest. So like I say, once we've got the final sort of smooth layer I'm happy with, I'll turn the vinyl over and lay it on there so it gets a vinyl effect on the finish afterwards. So while I'm waiting for that repair to go off, apologies for the sound of the rain on the roof. While I'm waiting for that repair to go off on the other door card, I'm looking at this one. It's got a little bit of tearing around the edge of it, but a lot of the surround, the chrome surround covers it. Now obviously I haven't got the chrome surround anymore, and I'm looking for a solution for this that means ideally I don't have to try and do a vinyl repair on this side. And I found these big washers here, which I can put over the top of the hole like that. So obviously the original ones were round, these are square, but I'm not looking for originality, I'm looking for quick fix solutions. I wouldn't keep these chrome, I'd paint them black with the rest of the door card after I'm done. But obviously the door card curves down, so what I did is I put one in a vise and I hammered it down until it had a curved edge to it, and then I filed the top edge off so it was a bit more rounded. And if you look, with that there over the top of the hole, it follows the edge of the door card quite nicely. If I bond that on, I'm going to have a surround around the around the hole there that's going to cover up all of my damaged fabric all in one foul swoop. And like I say, once that's painted black with the rest of the door, it'll look okay. Again, like I say, once I'm decide to spend more money on it, I'll probably get, you know, all new door cards, new interior, but for the moment we're just trying to tidy it up. So again, at the end of the day, if I don't like it afterwards, I can always pull it off, but I think that might actually work quite well. So this is the piece of trim I had to do the bigger repair on. This was snapped off completely about there. It was snapped off, and the back there you can see I've had to fix it all the way along actually, because it was cracked all the way along here as well. So I've used the mesh and the adhesive together to form a repair in the back, and then filled on the top here. We're going to be using textured paint, so obviously if I just painted straight onto that with a thinner paint that wasn't textured, we'd lose a lot of this stuff here. You know, obviously the texture of the whatever you want to call it, the plastic. So this is trim at the back. You're not really going to see it that closely, so it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but obviously it being snapped was not acceptable. So that will go back in. We've got a little bit more work to do on that edge there, and then we're good to go. So on the other door card with the bigger hole in it, I've bonded that on there, and then I put some more of the vinyl stuff on, and I've been dabbing it with a cut off of vinyl to give it a bit more of a textured surface. Again, I'm going to use a textured paint afterwards. We'll see how this dries out. I can warm it up again and do the same thing again, press it in. And there's a bit more of a gap on this one at the back because of the way the door card's sort of bowed down with the damage on it, but we'll have to have a look when it's dried off and see how bad that is. Obviously I can get the excess off the metal here, rub that down, but it will be painted black afterwards anyway, along with the rest of the door card. So I just glued down the edges here of the opening for the door handle again, because they were all loose and flappy. I've got to come up with a solution for this U channel here that runs along the door, the felt to hold the door window in place. You can see half it's missing. On the other one, even more of it's missing, and it's absolutely rock solid. It's so brittle that I don't think it's going to work. So I need to come up with a solution, whether I can make something like this out of some soft metal or something, fold it over on itself, and then glue some felt along the edge of it. I mean, obviously I could probably get it from America, but by the time it came here, it would cost a fortune. So yeah, any clever ideas of what might work on that? I can probably, no I can't, I thought I might save the plastic, but it's all so brittle. Look, it's just breaking off in my hands, that. Oh, yeah, there you go, just all come off. So it's like a very tight, sorry, V channel. I'd say it is more than a U channel, and it's obviously to hold up tight against the glass and stop it rattling, which the glass does rattle a lot in the car. So yeah, I need to come up with a solution for that. So after putting on some primer, I'm starting to apply some black to the trim, and what I'm going to use for that is the Pro XL Protex texture coating paint, which I've used before. It gives like a, well, this is supposed to be used for bumpers. When you've sanded a bumper down and ended up making it smooth and you still want a textured surface, you use this paint. So I want a textured surface inside, and I don't want gloss, I want black. So this is what I'm going to use, and obviously it will also cover a multitude of sins being textured. So as always, dust coat on first, and we'll go with the heavy coat in a second. So while in between coats, we'll do the door card here. We've got to scuff that out first with the red scuff pad to make sure the paint's got something to grab to, and then again we'll go in with a dust coat of the vinyl paint and then a heavier coat afterwards. So third coat of the black on, it's still wet. It's just drying off at the moment. We'll see how it looks when it's dried out completely. So there's our first door card done in black, well, the top half, the vinyl half. Doesn't look too bad. There was one little drip over there, which I'm going to see what I can do about. I'll let it dry off and see how it looks afterwards. See if it really does need anything doing to it or not. But yeah, it's got the right level of sort of vinyl shine to it without being really garish in your face. So we will crack on with the other one, get the seats finished off too. So temperature's been a bit of an issue for me. I'm finding when I want stuff gloss, it is matting up, and stuff is coming out of the cans really quite thick as well. So I'm pre-warming in hot water and I've got the heat gun out at the same time. This is supposed to be matte, so this is the black bumper spray stuff that I've put on the lower part of the trim for the door. So I want this to be like a matte against the shiny vinyl of the top half. It has got a little bit of a reflective shine to it, as you can probably see. I think my camera's struggling with it, but yeah, so we've done a few very light dust coats on that, keeping the blower on at the same time, the heat gun on at the same time, and that's the finish I wanted for those lower things. Like I say, a matte black. This stuff's got a tough finish to it, this bumper paint. So we're going to go around and do the rest of the bits of trim in the same stuff, and like I said, then it'll contrast against the shiny vinyl above it. There's our repaired piece of trim in the same coating. Our repair was over here, wasn't it? So that's nice. We haven't got any sanding marks, I think, with this textured paint. Nice even coating all the way across. Again, sort of a dull black with a tiny bit of sheen to it. So starting on the second door card, we're going to see how much of a hash I've made of this repair up here. See how it looks like when it's got some paint on it. Obviously, as before, I've heated the vinyl up with the heat gun, warmed it up. I have warmed up the can there. I'm giving it a dust coat over the top before I put any heavier coats down. This isn't going to be invisible repair. I'm sure there's lots of, well, not lots of, I'm sure there is probably an upholsterer watching, or someone who's done a repair before and knows how to do it properly, but considering how torn up it was there, I think that's a respectable temporary solution until I decide whether it's worth the funds or not to order up a full interior kit from America. Okay, so the recolouring has worked, but my repair hasn't. As you can see, it's got a lot of different texture versus the texture to it versus the other parts of the vinyl. I think I need to give it another go with putting more vinyl filler in here in these low spots. Let it go off and dab it again. Try and get more of a finish like the rest of the vinyl here. But I am limited for time at the moment, so I think I will leave that for the moment, crack on with the rest of the car, and we'll come back to that at a later time. Like I said, this is a budget colour resto, so we will have some compromises along the way, I say, until I decide to invest the money on getting a new interior. Stripping more out of the interior of the Firebird and finding more damaged plastic. So here you can see the edge of that is all crumbled away on this one. We've got a big chunk missing here, so we need to do more repairs again. So I've sanded it with some 60 grit paper, and then I've got some of the primer and the cleaner for the plastic adhesive we use. You need to make sure you get these really clean and get them primed for it to take to its best. And I'm hoping to reform these areas using the mesh and the plastic adhesive stroke filler stuff to reform the edges of these so we've got a nice fit inside the car. So just cut off a bit of the aluminium mesh, just pressing it to roughly shape it in place before I glue it down, and then fill from the other side. The tube I've got now is clear, not black like the one I was using earlier. So we'll just squeeze some of that on here, get it all nice and round there. Quickly get this on there, and then put some more on again. You can only use the nozzles on these once, so you need to act quick. Now fiberglass kit will do the same for you, but it just won't be anywhere near as quick as this. This is my reason for using this. So I swapped out the black for purely cosmetic reasons really, and filled the other side. I'm going to let that go off now. I'll trim it all down, sand it all down. Might need a bit of filler to tidy up, some fiberglass filler to tidy it up a bit more, but obviously this has just taken me 5 minutes to do this so far, and we've been able to make up that broken off edge very easy. We've been able to make up that broken edge very easily. So using my little Fern file sander, I have tidied up the areas on the edge there where I put the adhesive. Focus, there we go. So I've got a straight edge now. I've filed the back of it so that it doesn't prevent any fitting issues. I'll need to sand that down a bit more. These little file sanders are brilliant for these kind of jobs, and that stuff goes quite hard, and you can, as you saw there, you can file it. Let me show you if I can just do this one-handed, because unfortunately I haven't got a tripod with me at the moment. But if you use a file sander like this, you can see this stuff is hard enough to actually sand back. So I'll just tidy that one up as well, and then I'll hand sand them a bit to shape them a bit better, and then they'll be ready for finishing off. Right, I'm losing the light a bit now. It's getting a bit towards the end of the day. I'm trying to get as much done as possible. So with these, I'm going to wrap them in vinyl. I've decided to wrap a few things in vinyl. I had a roll of it on the side. I can't remember what I was planned on doing with that, to be fair. But I had it on the side for a while, so I thought I'd get it out and use it. I've already done the trims for the sides. You can see there I've got a few things I want to try and get out with some heat, hopefully. I never put myself forward as an expert, guys. You should know that by now. But they look respectable enough. Like I say, a little bit more heat to get some of the, I think some of the glue got a bit old. I think if I heat it up, I'll be able to smooth it out a bit. But I thought they'd look better on the side columns than just painted. As I had the vinyl, I thought I'd wrap them. I'm going to do the same with the pieces of trim that run across the top, holding the headliner up. I'm going to do the same with the piece of trim along the back that holds the headliner up. So I'll do those. And I think I'll probably end up doing the centre console in vinyl as well. If I can get a smooth finish on it, I'll probably do that centre console in vinyl and wrap that fabric top in vinyl as well when I get those out. But I've still got to get these seats out and break the seats down ready for painting as well. So I think we'll be going into a day 2 on this. So I've actually opted to take the backs off because I found out there was only 4 screws, and then you slide it upwards off these 2 pins here and you've got the whole back off, which I can paint separately. I do love how easily this car comes together. I wish modern cars came apart this easily, but I guess if the compromise is they've got to weigh a ton, another 6.6 litre, and then that probably is not going to work, is it? So let's get this one off as well. In that the vinyl spray isn't as effective on this woolly red stuff. It's not really soaking into it. So what I did is I've mixed some of my black leather dye with a bit of water, and I'm spraying that on so it's got a chance to really soak in. Obviously it doesn't matter if I get it elsewhere because I want all that black anyway. Yeah, it allows it to really soak in a bit more into that thick ply carpet stuff. And it's a hell of a lot cheaper actually, thinking about it. Could have done this on the seats as well, but I want an even, now I've done the other seats with the vinyl can, I think I'll continue on these with the vinyl can so they've got the same sort of finish to them. But yeah, this for the carpeting stuff, this thick fabric, this seems to be far more effective. The chair's in just in time before the rain hit. and they are all done. I might give the bases one more coat of the black vinyl, but they're looking good. They're exactly the kind of colour I wanted. Just wanted to sort of blend the herring. I didn't want the herringbone to completely disappear. It's still slightly there, but I just wanted the seats all black. Got all the vinyl done on the side, so we'll slip those bits back over the back of them again. Yeah, they've come out well. Nice even colour. Should look good in the car. Now we can start refitting everything back in again. Oh, I missed one bit of glaring red we've got in the car still. I need to get this centre console out and paint all this as well, don't I? Hopefully it comes off quite easy. I'd like to do something about this here as well, actually make the letters stand out more on the automatic side of things. So looks like all just comes apart with a Phillips screwdriver again, so we'll get cracking with that. But it's actually time to start putting things back in again. We've got my trims here. I already put the trims in by the side of the windscreens either side. So these ones run along the top now, so we'll bang those on. It's all back together. I thought I'd bring it out in the sunshine for you to have a little look, because it was a bit dark inside the unit. There's a couple of bits left to do. The backs of the seats, I want to give another colour again before I put them back on again, but look at the difference. It's made a world of difference inside here. It looks much classier than all that garish red everywhere. So I'll put this seat forward for you. How do I do that again? That's assuming I put the seats the right way around. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it looks a lot better. I'm really happy with this compared to all that random red everywhere. And it has cost me, we'll tot up the costs and put them on the screen now, I think. Which obviously compared to a couple of £1,000 to get a full interior over from America, and then the import duties are probably another £500, is far better for what is, at the end of the day, not the tidiest Firebird in the world anyway. Next thing obviously is a paint job, but that was really bothering me inside. I've got to obviously cover the armrest there. As you saw, I put some new 6x9s in the rear shelf, because you have to, don't you? My daughter wants to go out, listening to a Motley Crue, so it needs to have some decent speakers. Yeah, there's a few bits and bobs to do. I'll paint that up to tidy that up a bit. Recolour the steering wheel. I'm going to fit this replacement dash a bit better. It's a cover over the original dash, which has got cracks in it, so I need to do that. And yeah, just a few other bits and bobs, but overall this I might redo again. It came out a bit faded. Oh, I didn't show you. In the end, I tried to do the gear lever with a Dremel, and it didn't come out very well, so I'll get replacing one of those, but I can now actually see it, which is the major advantage. So there we have it. Hopefully you enjoyed watching me recolour the interior of my Firebird for peanuts. I'm sure you're going to have lots to say about it. When we've done a full respray and we decide exactly what we're doing, maybe we will get that interior over at some point, but for the moment I'm well pleased with that. As always, massive thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget, we've got the Chops Garage raffle on this 2016 Vauxhall Adam going on. It's coming out with a new MOT, freshly serviced, and a 6-month warranty, and you can win it for just £2. A portion of the proceeds are going to Little Willow's Wish, which is a charity supporting families with children in the hospital. And if you just win and decide you don't want the car, we'll give you £1,000 cash. We'll give you a bundle load of Top Don diagnostics equipment. Then we'll sell the car and give the proceeds minus that £1,000 to the charity on top. So thanks for all the support on the previous raffles. Check out the link in the description down below for this raffle.